What's going on, guys? It's Greg here, aka New York Prepper, and I wanted to take a break a little bit from the whole Iran situation, and I wanted to get back to some of my uh, other topics and things on my channel. And I like to review gear, especially gear that I think is useful for you guys. And as most of my subscribers are preppers, so I like to review gear that I find useful and that I personally use and enjoy using. And I only recommend gear that I think is useful to you guys. So here I just have the U.S. Army Survival Manual, which was on sale after Christmas. I went to Barnes and Noble actually right after Christmas, and a lot of times if you go to Barnes and Noble after Christmas and after like the New Year's holiday, you can get a lot of good deals there. You can get some really good books for cheap because they have a lot of overstock that they have to get rid of. So they mark down the prices tremendously. And here we have the Ultimate Survival Guide. This is basically a compilation of the U.S. Army Survival Manual. And you can see it's pretty thick. This is like a 2-inch thick book. And I only got it for 12 bucks. And this book right here is a good, I would say, reference guide. This should be, every prepper should have this book in their library somewhere in their house. It's a very good reference. I don't care if you're a seasoned survivalist, a seasoned prepper, and you've been prepping for years, and you have a lot of experience, which is someone like me. I have a lot of survival experience and survival skills. But this book is really good. It covers a lot of different topics. It covers, as you see, weapons, tools, equipment, survival psychology, first aid, shelter design, traps and snares, treating shock, close range combat. So it's not just survival, it's everything. It's hand-to-hand combat. It's small unit tactics, building fire teams. This book has everything in it from, building a Dakota fire pit to how to set up a wedge formation, to creating trenches and hasty firing positions. It pretty much has everything in here. So I'll just go through the table of contents with you guys. And I think that this has a lot more information than the regular Army Survival Guide, because the regular Army Survival Guide just strictly covers survival, more like wilderness survival. But this one has also combat and infantry tactics and things like that. So I'm going to just show you guys the table of contents here. And you can see it was edited by Jay McCullough, and it's Skyhorse Publishing, The Ultimate Guide to U.S. Army Survival Skills, Tactics, and Techniques. Like I said, you don't have to read this whole book because it's a very, it's a very thick book here. It covers pretty much everything. I mean, here we have radiation from nuclear radiation. It talks about how to survive a nuclear attack. It talks about electromagnetic pulse, survivability considerations, how to build shelters. It gives you time to effect. So this is especially relevant to the whole thing going on right now with World War III and Iran. But here they show a typical 10 kiloton blast radius versus a 1 kiloton blast radius. And it shows you different effects. You have your moderate effects. Your severe radiation effects would be the black center here, and it gives you distances from the center of the detonation point. So, here we have 3,000 meters, 3 kilometers. So it shows you some blast radiuses here, and the effects goes into different positions, how to survive a nuclear blast. Using drainage ditches, which I mentioned, using culverts. Any kind of ditch or channel in the ground can protect you from the blast. Thick walls, hills are good as well. So that's just one example of the many, many chapters. It talks about the halving thicknesses of different materials. You know, if we zoom in here, you can see some of the, this is actually, I'm sorry, it goes into halving thicknesses for radiation protection here. So you have soldier in the open, you know, you're going to get a full dose. Soldier in a 4-foot deep position, and it talks about, you know, different ways that you can reduce, how to build a trench here, you know, things like that. It talks about how to build a proper trench. Here we have halving thicknesses. This is what I wanted to get into, you know, different types of earth and how it's going to reduce the radiation. It covers a lot of different things. It talks about resistance to mortar shells and different types of high explosive shells here. You know, material thickness that you need to protect against different types of mortars, 120 millimeter rockets, 122 millimeter high explosive, different size bombs, 100-pound bombs, 250-pound bombs, and up to 1,000. And it talks about how thick of a material you need to protect yourself from the blast. You know, brick, concrete, timber frame, gravel, rubble, sand, clay. It talks about how many inches you need to protect yourself. So, you know, here we go into some of the survival stuff here, how to build a debris hut, you know, how to build a raised shelter in jungle environments. You know, just a lot of basic information here, how to set up a lean-to. You know, here's an example of some sketches they have. There's a lot of good illustrations in this book. You know, thanks to the U.S. Army for having such a very well-designed, you know, book here, manual. Here we're going into hand-to-hand combat, how to take somebody down using jiu-jitsu. This is a knife attack, for example. Somebody's striking you with a knife, you can take them down to the ground and disarm them. You know, we have a whole section on knife fighting. You know, this is just a really good book here. You know, here's the 9 angles of attack. So, you know, we have, this has a lot of stuff here. Defense against the knife, the 9 angles of attack. You know, there's so many things here, you know, to learn. I mean, this just covers everything. Hand-to-hand combat. You know, this is just incredibly rich with information for $12. You know, you can't beat it. Here they're showing how to do a choke or how to get out of one. Proper way to do a trachea choke, and then a carotid artery choke, which is cutting off the blood supply. Here this guy's just squeezing his Adam's apple. Collar grab choke, you know, things like that. You know, so we have a lot of information here. You know, so, and let's see what else I can show you guys. You know, here we have rock climbing. They have a section on rock climbing, how to use different parts on a mountain to climb. I mean, this is just so much information here. It's ridiculous. Talking about correct climbing stances, and this is all basic information. You know, they have knots here. They have rappelling, how to create a Swiss seat. You know, here we have the Swiss seat. All kinds of knots. Looks like a clove hitch here. You know, let's see what else. I mean, it's just, they have a bowline, some type of a bowline there. It's just a really good book, you know. So here you have all your knots. I mean, this just has everything in it. This is just really good reference guide. Talks about different types of clouds, how to identify clouds, you know, survival in mountain terrain. Just a really good book here. Wind chill table. Every prepper should have this in their home library. You know, this is just absolutely essential. You know, treating heat injuries, you know, different types of terrains here, you know, jungle, bamboo, savanna, palms, a palm swamp, you know. I mean, it's just really, really good stuff here. So how to react to ground flares if somebody's trying to light up your position. You know, what else here? Talk about movement. You know, there's just a ton of information. Camouflaging techniques. More of the hand-to-hand combat. Here they have a whole section on poisonous snakes of the world. You know, it's just really good. Here's improvised how to set up traps. You know, things like that. So, you know, it's more than just wilderness survival. It has everything in here. We have digging a fighting position in the snow. Whoops. I'm sorry guys, I zoomed in too quick. You know, digging a fighting position in the snow. So check this book out, guys. Rescue and Transportation Procedures. I only got it for $13 on Barnes & Noble. So check this book out, and I think it'll help you guys tremendously. So thanks for watching, and remember the 3 P's: prepare, practice, and persevere. All right, guys. God bless.